There is something common between all of us. No, not the fact that we are scholars, academicians, practitioners, or business managers who have assembled here to share our valuable experience and knowledge with one another. No, but the fact that we all respect time. Not just because we are all here on time, but because you value where and how you invest your time. Being a weekend, you could have very well binge watch your favorite show on Netflix, Family Man season 2, the new movie Mimmy, or the Lucifer final season. Or you could have just simply continued scrolling down on your social media wall, looking at memes or tagging friends and posting stories about your whereabouts without any purpose. Or simply procrastinated and waited for good things to happen to you. Or maybe chit-chatted with your family and friends or colleagues, or maybe gone out with them. Now that lockdown has been lifted, gone out with them, or simply relaxed. But instead, you decided to attend this prestigious event, that is the International Conference for World Innovative Research, International Conference in Management, Science, Engineering, Technologies, and Humanities, the SIPMSETH. And as they say, the first step towards success is to show up. So each and every one of you, give yourselves a round of applause. Round of applause. Round of applause. I cannot see you. I cannot see you. Round of applause for yourselves. Yes. We're all going through tough times, especially because of COVID, political unrest in the world, etc. So today we will learn how to develop mental toughness in tough times. So to learn this, let me make you meet our friend, Billy. Who is Billy? This is Billy. Billy is a very happy wild goat. Billy loves to jump around. Billy loves to roam around in the green pastures with his family. Billy has an amazing life until one day something bad happens. While jumping over a big rock, Billy unfortunately slips and breaks his leg. Now the injured Billy can no longer jump around. His mobility is restricted. And then something even more tragic happens when Billy is attacked by Komodo dragons. And finally, Billy dies. I know that this is a very painful story, but this is the reality, which I wanted to share with all of you here, which most of the people ignore. There is a law which is governed by nature, that if we are weak, we will not survive. Survival of the fittest. And that is the reality of life right now. Nature punishes the weak. Not just Billy, take any animal for that matter. Even the biggest of the lot, let's say the elephant. Even if the elephant is injured, it loses its mobility and is easily eaten up by lions or hyenas. In fact, there is no room for the weak creatures on this planet, both physically and mentally. Do you think we humans are completely exceptional? Type it in the chat box. Do you think we humans are exceptional to this? Survival of the fittest? Do you think that? Type yes if you think that. Type no if you don't think that. Type it in the chat box. No negative markings for any wrong answers. So please feel free. Is it that difficult a question? Are we humans immune to the law of nature of survival of the fittest? Yes or no? Nobody has any thoughts? We can wait, no problem. We can wait. We have the whole day. Dr. Vijay says no. Thank you, Dr. Vijay, for being the opening batsman. Dr. Bahubali says no. Thank you, Dr. Bahubali. Nobody has any other opinion? Manoj says no. Dr. Surendra says yes. Humans are not completely exceptions to these laws. The only advantage we as human beings have is that we can talk to people. We can communicate our emotions and feelings. And we have the best medical support. Therefore, I feel that we are the most safest species right now. In fact, we are alive. We are the luckiest generation ever Because if you go back several thousand years back, our ancestors had to fight for their life, for their day-to-day survival. Today, we have become very comfortable and leading amazing life with all the facilities. We have the best education system. We have the best of technologies. We are able to be in different parts of the world and we are able to communicate. And we have the best healthcare systems. I would like to reiterate once again, nature punishes the weak and rewards the tough beings. With this, I want to drive your attention to a very big problem. There are so many people committing suicide today. What is the reason? I want you to look at the statistics from this newspaper clipping with your full attention. These are the numbers from one of the newspapers from my country. And it states that one student commits suicide every 55 minutes in India. Now, before we go deep into the solution, we need to understand how severe this problem is. Not all the deaths are caused by any pandemic or accidents. These are suicides because it is not physically that we are hurt or weak. It is emotionally or mentally that we are hurt or we are weak. Physically, we are still strong because we have the best of foods. If you don't have the best of foods, we have supplements. We have the best of nutrients that we want in the world at our fingertips. You can order everything today. We have a very good shelter, a house to live like, unlike our ancestors who used to live in the caves, who did not have this liberty. In the Stone Age, people used to hunt for their survival. But despite of all the comforts that we have today, people are killing themselves now, harming themselves now. I understand not all of us here, all these amazing 17 souls apart from me, are extremists like these students who are feeling the pressure of committing suicide. But we are all under some or the other kind of mental pressure. In spite of all the advancements that we have seen, we are becoming a generation of weak people. Many of us are like, oh God, my manager said this to me. My family member said this to me. Somebody doesn't like me. Somebody shouted at me. And then we go into depression mode. Today, the symptoms of depression are simple: worry, stress, anxiety, and overwhelming feelings. All negative things that are coming to us today are making us the weakest generation, and most of us are suffering from this. And the problem is that we are not able to understand why is this happening to us. And even if we are the strongest and toughest men physically, we are all in the zone of being emotionally or mentally weak, maybe for half an hour, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, etc. And I can tell you confidently, there is no exception to this rule. So, but before we learn how we can become mentally tough, despite the tough times, despite the corona lockdown, despite the economy or whatever it is, how can we come out of this situation and flourish? Let us understand what happened to us and why we humans who are the strongest. Anthony, can you please mute yourself? Anthony, can you please mute yourself? Excuse me, we need to mute Mr. Anthony. Mr. Anthony, can you please mute yourself? Dr. Prakash, can you please mute Anthony? We will wait. We will wait. Anthony, can you please mute yourself? Dr. Prakash, can you make me the co-host, please? I'm sorry, everybody, but I cannot continue like this. I need Mr. Anthony to mute himself. Mr. Anthony, can you please mute yourself? Yes. Mr. Anthony, I would request you, if you have some personal calls to take, you can kindly leave this meeting. All right? Thank you. Apologies for that, because we are here for a reason. We are here to learn and grow together. So I would request all of you to have all your focus over here, because energy flows where focus goes. That is what I personally believe in. All right? So are we born mentally tough or weak people? No, it has happened gradually. Type it in the chat box. Type it in the chat box. Why do you think we have become mentally weak? As we are not as tough as our parents or our grandparents who are mentally. Type it in the chat box. Why do you think that we have become mentally weak today? That's fine, Dr. Surendra. That's absolutely fine. Why do you think we have become mentally weak? We are not open to express our feelings, Dr. Vijay says. Yes, that's right, Dr. Vijay. Absolutely. Anybody has any other views? We have become self-centered. Yes, that is true. Absolutely. Yes. Dr. Surendra agrees with Vijay sir. Absolutely. It all started because of our parents. Now listen to me carefully before you judge me. Our parents are the reason for all our amazing lives. Most of us never faced any challenges with daily meals or having a roof or getting admissions in top schools and colleges. We just had to follow orders or a system to get these comforts. All these comforts are the reason why we started becoming weaker emotionally. Even in the smallest of pressures, like poor marks in the exams or high expectations of our bosses, we become like snowflake. We succumb or we crumble under a little bit of pressure, little bit of heat. But there is a solution. People are not born mentally weak. It is because of our conditioning, of the environment in which we grew up. If we had tough parents who made us independent, then we would have become mentally tough today. So, is it possible to become mentally tough? It's my question to all of you. Do you think it is possible to become mentally tough? Type yes if it is possible to become mentally tough. Type no if it is not possible to become mentally tough. Yes? Yes, ego is killing ourselves, Dr. Vijay says. Unnecessary expectations, absolutely. Type yes in the chat box if you feel that we can become mentally tough. Type no if you feel that we cannot become mentally tough. Type it in the chat box. Reshma says yes. Manoj says yes. We have 18 people apart from me and only 3 people are responding. What are the rest of the people doing? You don't have any views, any opinions? We are scholars. We are academicians who are all gathered here and we cannot answer a simple question. Dr. Vijay says under pressure. Yes. Nobody has any other views? Simple question. Is it possible to become mentally tough? Yes or no? Type yes if you feel yes. No if you feel no. Simple. Type it. Type it. We'll wait. We'll wait. No problem. We'll wait for all of you to respond. Dr. Rajesh says yes. Okay. Dr. Vijay, thank you for that. Okay, let me call out names now. Let me call out names. Dr. Bahubali, what do you think? Anthony, what do you think? Dr. Rajesh, what do you think? Dr. Rajesh has responded. Sunita, what do you think? Dr.
No,
Anupam, what do you think?
according to me.
Sorry? No.
Yeah, from my side, no.
Okay, okay. Rajnikant, what do you think? Dr. Reshma has responded. Shabnam, what do you think? Is it possible to become mentally tough? Yes or no? Type it in the chat box. Yes, if you feel yes, it is possible to become mentally tough. No, if you feel no, it is not possible to become mentally tough. Yeah, Dr. G. Kartika says yes. Dr. Bahubali says no. Thank you for Kartika says yes. Dr. Bahubali says no. Thank you for the response. Imagine if you're going to the gym and I ask you today to lift 100 kgs while doing squats. Will you be able to do it? Simple question now. If you're going to the gym for the first time, is it practically possible for you to lift 100 kgs while doing squats? Is it possible? Yes or no? Yes if you feel yes. No if you feel no. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Manoj says no. Absolutely not in a day or so. Reshma says no. Dr. Reshma, yes. Great, Dr. Reshma. Brilliant. You can lift 100 kgs in the first day. Dr. Kartikeya says no. Rajnikant says yes. Okay. Dr. Surendra says no. It is not possible for an average human being to lift 100 kgs while doing squats from the very first day. But what if I tell you that lift only 5 kgs and do the squats for 1 week? Second week, push it up to 10 kgs. Third week, push it up to 15 kgs or 30 kgs. And eventually, after a few weeks or months, 200 kgs. Then do you think it will be possible? Type yes if then you think it will be possible. Type no if you think no, still it will not be possible. Dr. Vijay says maybe possible. Manoj says yes. Dr. Reshma says yes. Dr. Vijay says yes. Despite the fact that we are not born physically capable of lifting 100 kgs, but because we are consistent with our practice and effort, we are able to develop our muscles and we can withstand the pressure of 100 kgs. Of course, over a course of time. So if we are built physically weak, we can become strong. If we can do it physically, then why we can't do it mentally? Absolutely, this is possible. You can absolutely do it and you don't need to be a scholar to do that. And your gender does not matter. Nothing matters. Anybody who wants to become mentally tough can become mentally tough. It is in your hands. Like the physical muscle, you can build your mental muscle. But the problem is that most people do not know how to build a mental muscle or toughness. Most of the people do not know how to deal with what kind of situations they are facing or how to build resilience. And this is where our education system fails. Because there's no chapter in the book called as mental toughness. Some of us were lucky to have great parents who taught us about mental toughness. But majority of our parents or schools or education systems did not teach us about mental toughness. Because they themselves were not experts on this topic. Today, we are going to learn 5 simple steps of how to become mentally tough. Are you ready to learn those 5 simple steps to become mentally tough? If you're ready, type yes in the chat box. Dr. Vijay says consistent practice. Yes. If you're ready to learn 5 methods of becoming mentally tough, type yes in the chat box. Dr. G. Kartika says yes. Reshma says yes. Dr. Reshma says yes. Dr. Vijay Kulkarni says would be pleasure. Rajnikant says yes. Manoj says yes. Dr. Bahubali says yes. Number 1 is consciousness. Do you know what the diagram on the screen is? What is this called as? Does anybody know? What is this diagram on the screen? What is this called as? Does anybody know? Any guesses? No guesses? Okay. I'll not make you burn your mental calories more. This is a Chinese word which is called as yin and yang. It is the reason why most of the people are suffering today, because they have not increased their consciousness. They are just living in the small cube, small world, like the frog in the well, living in the small, fragile, safe environment. They do not have the consciousness of yin and yang, things that make people mentally tough. What is yin and yang? Positive and negative, good and bad, holy and evil, day and night. Yin yang is when you have the consciousness that every bad is going to be led by good. That is, every bad time will be followed by pleasurable and good times. Most people, when they are in bad time, they only focus on bad, 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 evil, 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 negative, 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 suffering, 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 scarcity, 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 scarcity. Their consciousness becomes so narrow like a frog in the well that they are not able to see beyond their current situation. The people who are mentally tough know that any problem that they are facing right now is not a permanent problem. And any situation that they are in right now is not a permanent situation. This is the first consciousness we need to have. The other side is also true. Every good time would also be followed by a bad time. You see the pandemic corona? We are at the end tail of the pandemic corona. And pandemics have become so common today that every 5 to 10 years we see a pandemic. But if we don't build our resilience, our appetite, our physical immunity, our toughness, if we don't support our body with nutrition and food, we're going to become weak, just like Billy, and become a prey, whether it's corona or Ebola or swine flu or whatever it is. Every 5 to 10 years, there will be a pandemic. But what is our safety net? Whether it is physical pandemic or a financial pandemic, the question to ask ourselves is, are we prepared? The first thing is to be conscious about the fact that good times are not there forever, and neither are the bad times. For the good times, we need not prepare. But for the bad times, we definitely need to prepare. Second consciousness also translates to spirituality. Of late, I've been studying the life of these yogis and mystics like Buddha and Osho and Sadhguru. And I've been drilling into their lives very deeply, because most of the people today want to conquer the outside world, but they fail to conquer their inner world, which is this outstanding machine that we all have. We call our bodies, our minds as our temples. And this outstanding machine that we have is being underutilized. Most people become weak because they do not understand that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. I repeat, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Do you see that many people inflict pain on us through their tough words or actions? When we dislike someone, we do not even want to hear that person's name or see that person's face. The poison we are carrying inside of us makes us feel bad. Who is suffering? They are suffering or we are suffering? Who is suffering? They are suffering or we are suffering? Type it in the chat box. They or we? They or we? Who's suffering? They are suffering, we are suffering. Type they if they are suffering. Type we if you feel we are suffering. Many people have died, yes, due to emotional weakness. Absolutely. Who is suffering because of the emotional weakness? Are other people suffering or we are suffering? Manoj says we. Dr. Vijay says we. Yes, Dr. G. Kartika says we. Reshma says we. We are suffering. However, it is optional. We can choose to forget that person. We can choose to forgive that person. That person does not even know that we are suffering. That person does not inflict the pain. We are choosing that suffering and we are choosing that pain. Forgive that person. Bless that person. Whether it is our spouse, our former friend, our colleague, any person on this world. Number two, we are never given a problem. How many thoughts does an average human being get in a day? Positive, negative, doesn't matter. How many thoughts do we get? Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess. 30,000, Motilal says. Very close, Motilal. An average human being gets 15 to 20,000 thoughts in a day, and 80 to 90% of these thoughts are negative. So who is controlling our life? Not us. Our mind is. Once our consciousness, step number one, consciousness is stretched. Once we have the right context, point number two, then the third step is to control your thoughts. Why? Because our thoughts control our feelings, feelings control our actions, actions control the outcomes that we have, outcomes bring about more feelings in us, and the feelings lead to more thoughts. This is a cycle which can become a vicious cycle if you have negative thoughts, and a virtuous cycle if you have positive thoughts. So we must control our thoughts to control our life. If we change our thought process to positive thought process, then we can grow. How do we do this? We do this by doing daily rituals, affirmations, visualizations, and being grateful for whatever we have. If we do this every day, we start to gradually seeing the changes and building our mental muscle. If we do this consistently for 21 days, it becomes a habit. This will change our thought process from negative to positive very easily. Remember, when you get a negative thought, just think about how many people are dying in the world around us. Change the thought. Change the thought. Tell your mind, reboot, reboot, reboot. Tell your mind, no more negativity. Let us go back to positivity. Because until we cannot produce positive thoughts, we cannot do anything positive. Remember this cycle. Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to actions. Actions lead to outcomes. Outcomes lead to feelings. And feelings lead back to thoughts. Step number 4 is to take risks. How many times have our parents told us to play it safe? Do not touch that, and do not go there. Do not speak to that person. We grew up in a very safe environment where taking risks was bad. These are the physical risks. What about the mental risks that we have stopped taking? Our context expands when we take risks, because we are not operating from fear. We are operating from faith, and we are operating from courage. Fear makes us weak. Courage makes us bigger than our risks. Our appetite and resilience grows bigger and bigger and bigger. What type of risk you should take? That might be a question you might be asking yourselves now. Not foolish or stupid risks, but calculated risks. When we start taking risks, that is calculated risks, the capacity of our brain expands and we become more mentally tough. Take enough risk unless and until we do not grow broke or die. The moment we stop taking risk, we are as good as dead as we stop growing. We are just waiting for the disaster to happen, which will eventually happen. Comfort makes us mentally weak. Calculated risk makes us mentally strong. Step number 5 is to celebrate failures. No, I do not like the word failure, because either I'm winning or I'm learning. But a lot of people consider it as failure. If we think that we have failed, then celebrate it, because failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a part of success. So when we are faced with some tough and challenging times, we need to realize that we know that this is a signal. This is a downfall. This is a learning. We need to celebrate this. Unfortunately, in our culture, our educational systems, we are penalized for failures. We get bad grades, we get punishments. Rather, imagine an education system which says, hey, good job, you failed, but at least you learned something. Next year, we'll try again and win. We take the same principle of life negatively. Remember this picture. Mental image of the process of winning. After so many failed attempts of hammering a nail and hurting yourself while doing so. This is a process. Do not think that the very first nail that you will hammer will be perfect. There will be a lot of ouch moments. Eventually, we'll be able to nail it and win. How can we fail if we do not give up? So these are the 5 steps which I wanted to drive in your mind, and especially this last step, celebrate failure. I wanted to explain via an example. Can you tell me who is this gentleman? Can you tell me who is this gentleman in the picture? Take a guess, take a guess. I made it easy for all of you. Take a guess. Take a guess. Who is this gentleman in front of you? Yes, Motilaal Edison. Absolutely. Spot on. One of the greatest inventors of all times, Thomas Alva Edison. In 1914, Edison had a factory in West Orange, New Jersey, which was completely destroyed because of a fire. His whole life's work was inside that laboratory. The damage at that time, 1914, was more than $2 million. But hardly any of this got covered by insurance. Only around $200,000 to $300,000 was covered because the factory was built of concrete and it was supposed that concrete cannot catch fire. But what the insurance company failed to realize that everything inside the laboratory was highly flammable and pretty expensive. Everything was being burned on that night of December. When his son Charles came to his father Thomas Edison, after seeing the entire factory ablaze with fire, he was really upset. Seeing his father's face lit up with the yellow flame, yellow light of the flames of that fire. Thomas was looking at that fire very calmly. Then Thomas looked at his son and said, "Son, where is your mother? Go get her." His son, Charles, looked back at him and a surprised look. His whole life's work is catching fire and he is checking on me as to where is my mother. Thomas looked back at his son and said, "Go and get your mother, because this is one scene she has never seen in her life and one scene that she'll never ever get to see in her life." Charles was shocked because of the casual attitude of his father. Next day, the whole family went to the site. Thomas picked up the ashes and looked at the ashes and told his wife, "Don't worry. There is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burnt up now. We can start all over again, and we should be thankful to God." Exactly 3 weeks later, Edison managed to deliver a brand new invention, which was the phonograph. Celebrate failures. And yes, a bonus tip before I wind it up for the day. The most important, gratitude. Life is so simple. Life is so beautiful. If we consciously start practicing gratitude, we'll by default become a happy person. How do we practice gratitude? We just close our eyes and visualize everything that is good, everything that is joyful in our lives. Starting from the bed that we get to sleep in, the comfortable cushion that we have, the pillow that we have, our ability to see, hear, smell, taste, be thankful for everything that we have. Our family, our devices, all the comfort that we have, money that we have. If we become grateful towards life, life will be thankful and grateful towards us. Everything that happens does not happen to us. It happens for us. When we celebrate our bad times, yin and yang, the good times will be even more merrier. And I want to summarize the 6 steps once again. Step number 1 to become mentally tough is consciousness. 2 is expand your context. 3 is control your thoughts. 4 is take calculated risks. 5 is celebrate failures. And 6 is gratitude. If you do not take anything from whatever I just said, if you were distracted, busy in other calls, if you missed anything, I want you to take back just this one thing. That hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. And weak men create hard times. Let us all be grateful that we have had hard times. Be grateful that we have tough times, because that leads us to become strong and create more good times for ourselves and others. With that, I would like all of you to do a guided meditation exercise with me to have a rest of a day filled with positive energy and vibe. So I want all of you to sit back straight, come on camera, sit back straight, come on camera, come on camera, come on camera, yes. This is called as priming of your mind. We are here to learn and share a lot of our knowledge with each other. So let us prime our minds to have a very productive rest of the day. So let us do guided meditation. So all of you come on camera, back straight, back straight. Put your palms on your thighs. Close your eyes and just listen to my voice for the next 6 to 7 minutes. No distractions.
Let us begin. Make sure that you're sitting comfortably with your back straight and close your eyes. Take a deep breath through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. Repeat quietly in your mind, I am confident and I feel great. Keep breathing slowly and deeply and pull your breath right down into your belly. Now imagine a white light high above your head, and with every breath you take, it comes closer and closer and closer until it touches the top of your head. This light is pure source of energy streaming down from your higher mind. It's here to help you to recharge and fill you with positive self-confidence. Allow it to flow into. You may feel a slight tingling as this pure energy gently flows into your head, giving you focus, and then down into your throat, helping you to express yourself with confidence. Now, this energy flows down into your chest, spreading a feeling of easy, loving confidence in your heart. The energy continues to flow down into your solar plexus, your power center, where it gathers into a ball of inner strength and personal power. With every breath you take, it grows bigger and brighter, filling every part of you with a natural, easy self-confidence. You are a magnificent human being. You deserve to be confident now. I want you to quietly repeat in your mind, I am strong, I am confident. I am strong, I am confident. I feel great. Now, I want you to go back in time and remember the one moment when you were feeling very strong, confident, and powerful. It could be the first time you were so well prepared that after seeing the question paper, you realized that you knew all the answers and were confident of getting a good score. Or the time when you cracked a very tough interview, you answered all the questions promptly and confidently and got a call or email from the HR about your selection among so many candidates. Or the first time you asked your better half out and you got an instant yes. Or the first time you went up on the stage or in the conference room and gave a power-packed presentation and got a standing ovation for the same. Remember the formal dress you were wearing. Yes, that very dress. Remember its color. Remember its texture. how comfortable and powerful you felt wearing the same. Remember your posture, your content, your stance. Everything was in harmony. Everything was just so perfect. Remember the vibrations of the clapping. Yes, you can hear them in your mind again now. And the positive energies of all the smiling faces around you. As you continue to breathe slowly and deeply, take note of how you're feeling now. I want you to straighten your spine, push back your shoulders, and slightly lift your chin. And now take note of how this small adjustment in your posture makes you feel more confident. Focus on this feeling and now repeat quietly in your mind after me. I am strong, I am powerful. I am strong, I am powerful. I am confident, I am talented. I am confident, I am talented. I am respected, I am loved. I am respected, I am loved. I feel great about myself. I deserve to be confident. I feel great about myself. I deserve to be confident. It is easy for me to feel confident. I'm in charge of my life. It is easy for me to feel confident. I'm in charge of my life. I can do anything today. Everything is easy. I can do anything today. Everything is easy. Now, it's time to bring yourself back. Begin by gently stretching your back and arms. Wiggle your toes and start listening to sounds around you more and more. You feel energized and confident and ready for anything. Now slowly open your eyes and enjoy a wonderful and confident version of you.
Well, how do you all feel? Type it in the chat box. How do you all feel? Do you feel refreshed, energized, all set for the day ahead?
It was wonderful, Dr. Siddharth.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. G. Motilal says, great, thanks. Dr. Bahubali says, great, awesome. So thank you so much, Dr. Prakash and Global Research Conference Forum for giving me this opportunity. All of you have a lovely rest of the day with lots of learning, lots of growing, and lots of fun. Over to you, Dr. Prakash. The response.
Prakash Divakaran sir, for allowing me to take this opportunity once again to introduce Dr. Siddharth Gaur. It's a very proud feeling to have Dr. Siddharth Gaur on board as usual. And I'm very thankful personally and on behalf of all the attendees for Dr. Siddharth Gaur to give us his valuable time. And I just can't express what a way to begin the morning. It's just perfect. It's just the perfect way to begin. I don't think there could be anything better than this a nice meditation and a good way to begin the morning. I personally feel that this session should be on a regular basis other than conferences. The way Dr. Siddharth Gaur has emphasized, it's a very key thing. We just keep ignoring. We just keep ignoring this most important essence, the most important aspect of life. We just get caught up with so many things in our daily lives. We just ignore the most important thing because of which we are in existence, as Dr. Siddharth Gaur rightly expressed. It's like just going on the freeway for hours and never trying to get on the side and take a moment and just to take a sigh of relief and appreciate and revive ourselves, look into ourselves as to where we are going in life. So without taking more time, I would still like to just express few words about Dr. Siddharth Gaur. Most of you might be aware, but for those who aren't aware, I would just introduce Dr. Siddharth Gaur. Sir, Dr. Siddharth Gaur is a qualified marketing and sales professional with over 10 years of experience of work in some of the topmost IT companies in the world in various roles across marketing, sales, and customer success. He's also been working in the area of personal growth and human development for the past 4 years. His mission is to create 1 million public speakers globally. That's a great mission. And I hope and wish Dr. Siddharth Gaur sir accomplishes this very soon rather than 2030. He strongly believes that public speaking is not a sprint, it's a marathon. In order to be a world-class public speaker, you have to be ready to explore the world and to share your experiences and perceptions with others. He's passionate about empowering his students through his public speaking and sales training programs and transformational seminars aimed at shattering the mental blocks and limiting beliefs that prevent his mentees to unleash their best via his personalized one-to-one and insightful group coaching programs. He strongly believes that public speaking gives you the platform to share valuable ideas, which according to him is the best way to give back to the society and to ultimately make the world a better place to live in. Thank you, Dr. Siddharth Gaur. Don't have enough words to express your
Thank you, Manoj.
presence and valuable time. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much, Manoj sir. Thank you, Dr. Prakash and Global Research Conference Forum for
It
this
is always
amazing opportunity. Thank you so
always
much.
a pleasure to have you on board. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Siddharth Gaur.